The thing that I want to bring to you today is taken from the sacred book of the real Mother Goose. The rhyme that we're going to consider today is Little Boy Blue. Little boy blue, come blow your horn. The sheep's in the meadow and the cow's in the corn. Where is the little boy who looks after the sheep? You know where he was? He was under the haystack, fast asleep. It is recorded in this book, the real Mother Goose, and that makes it authoritative. It makes it real. It is the authoritative version, and it is accurate, therefore worthy of our considerations. Now, we understand that this is a description of someone who is not altogether trustworthy. The rhyme is a picture of the problems caused by those who are not diligent in fulfilling their responsibilities. Little boy Blue was given the responsibility of the care of the sheep and the cows. It was his job to see that this was done in a proper way, that he fed and that he watered these dumb animals and keep them safe from danger. This is a big job. It demands vigilance on the part of the keeper. He was properly equipped to do this job. However, the child labor laws today prevent the abuse of children by forcing them to do daily chores. Only this week I saw, and this is for sure, I saw only this week that there is a petition before Congress to prevent the abuse of children, and they are no longer required to do chores. I hope that they soon pass a bill that requires husbands don't wash dishes. Now, Little Boy Blue had in his possession a horn. And the purpose of the horn that he had was to call the animals when it was feeding time or when it was time to put them up for the night. The animals were trained to respond to the sound of the trumpet. And Little Boy Blue could also use the trumpet to frighten off the predators that might seek to harm the prized possessions of this wonderful family. The horn can also be used to call for assistance from the family members should there be such a need. And just as it was true of the trumpeters in the war between the states, different sounds on the horn conveyed different commands. That is, to attack, or to retreat, or to go to bed, or to get up, or chow time, and a host of other important actions. Now, Gideon, you remember Gideon? Gideon used horns to frighten away the Philistines. He created panic among those, resulting in victory for those good guys. The sheep and the cows, being what they are, they wandered from their place of protection and safety. They had placed themselves in harm's way. The sheep and the cows were not evil or malicious animals. They were only doing what dumb animals do. But where was Little Boy Blue? Little Boy Blue was under the haystack. He was fast asleep. Now, the author does not tell us why he was asleep. It could be that he stayed up all night studying for an English test. It could very well be that he had been up all night because he was sick. It could be that he spent the entire night fighting off the predators that were seeking to devour the precious possessions of the family. Who knows? interested in why, they were only quick to condemn. How true it is. It's much easier to be critical of others if you don't know the full story. And that's the way it was with little boy Blue. Those who were so quick to condemn could have prevented the crisis. They could have helped out in so many different ways. They could have closed the gates to keep those sheep from wandering off and putting themselves in danger. But alas, they didn't. And they presented the problem and caused the danger to come upon these poor, innocent animals. Paul Harvey used to say, "You have now heard the story, but now for the rest of the story." And so we need to consider the rest of the story. The first thing that we learn about little boy Blue is that he was little. The first word that we have is little. He was little. Now, little is a relative term. It is not an absolute term. That is to say that the word can be and is understood in many different ways. The exact meaning depends upon to what it is being compared. For example, if you compare your house to the Empire State Building, your house is what? Little. This term can also be a reference not to the size of the person, but rather to the character of the person. He or she is a little person. That is to say, he is a person or she is a person that is lacking in character. That is a person without moral convictions. That is a snake in the grass, if you please. How easy it is to not understand the terms that are used by those who would seek to teach us. Now, we're not sure which of the two definitions the author had referenced. He could have been thinking about his size, because he is called a boy rather than a man. He could have been talking about the character of this individual, because there is ample evidence that he was irresponsible. He was asleep on the job. He was not doing what he was supposed to be doing. He was small in character in that sense. And the truth is, we don't know for sure exactly what it meant. But that does not mean that we should not be dogmatic in our opinion. Just because we don't know what we're talking about has nothing to do with whether or not we are going to voice our opinion. The truth of the matter is that we do not want even to fellowship with those who are not of the same opinion that we are. And this is certainly true of what was going on this day. The second thing that the author tells us about this guilty person creating problems, that he was a boy. Now, boys are often criticized because of what we do. So it was in this case. Boys are always blamed for the things that go wrong. It was little Jack Horner, he was a boy, who stuck his thumb in the Christmas pie and ate the plum, destroying the pie, which was intended to feed all of the guests. He was a boy, untrustworthy. He said, "What a big boy am I." Oh, how sad it is. There was another boy. There was Jack, who sold the family cow for 5 beans, and in justification of his actually killed a man. It was also Jack who jumped over the candlestick, endangering the whole family, that he might knock over the candlestick and cause a fire that might consume the whole family and burn the place down. Now, when boys and girls are compared, boys always come out on the short end of the stick. Jack and Jill went up the hill. That clumsy boy fell down. He drug that poor innocent girl all the way down that hill, dragging her all the way to the bottom of that hill. Oh, but girls, yeah, girls are made of sugar and spice and everything nice. Oh, what a beautiful picture. And because boys are made of hammers and nails and puppy dog tails, it would lead us to believe that all boys are mutilators of poor defensive animals. There is a difference between boys and girls. The third thing that we learn about this little boy is that he was blue. Now, the word blue can be understood in a variety of ways. It could be that it was his last name. Little boy Blue. That was his last name. I have often heard of people whose names reflect a color. I once had a friend whose name was Doyle Red. I worked for many years with a man that was named Dick Green. Brown is a very common name that we often hear. White is not a color, but is the absence of all colors, and therefore it is listed in the chart of colors. Black is the presence of all colors. It is also listed in the list of colors. I don't know that I have ever known a person named Blue, but I suppose it's possible. Little boy Blue. Blue could have reference to his emotional state. We can understand why this little boy might be blue or emotionally distressed. He was forced to spend his days looking after animals while all of his friends were out playing. He was abused in that sense. He was deprived of sleep. He had to stay up all night protecting those dumb animals from the predators that would seek to destroy him. His only source of enjoyment was blowing a horn. He was judged by those who should have been in the sport and support of him, and they criticized him to no end. Now, it's no wonder that he was blue. We would all been in the same shape, I'm sure, that each of us would be in that frame of mind. But you know that word blue, B-L-U-E, can also be spelled B-L-E-W. It has a different meaning. It is, for us, difficult to understand at times those things.